midday Sunday, 12:30. 12:30 Sunday update. Let's turn on some lights. Is it in the ground? Yes, that U-bolt is crooked, and yes, those are crooked. I don't know why. I just tightened them up where they were just to get the axle tight. The axle's offset too far right at the moment. I'm going to have to get a U-boltless axle perch, and then it has 3 flanges that will get welded to the axle tube. The innermost one I'll contour so it can get welded to the center section. Then I should be able to center the housing up in the car. It's pretty close. It's about 1/2 inch off. That's probably why those are crooked. I had to slide it back over to get that U-bolt just to get in to the lower shock bracket. This should be at about the stock ride height. Let's see. Get you down here where I can see. Kill my knees. So that's about the ride height. It'll probably be a little bit lower, some weight on it. May have to go to the bottom hole. That's the second hole from the bottom, which should have been about stock ride height on the Falcon. The rocker I measured is about 11 inches off the ground back here. So I think it's gonna look pretty good. Of course, if you see that, there's no change in the tire without dropping the rear end. So I think the easiest way to drop the rear end. Oh, and I don't have a fine thread nut for the back of this. Why is it? This must be trying to pull out. Oh, it's trying to pivot around. I guess I need to jack that up and fix that. Find a nut. I need to find a fine thread, 3/8 nut. Because Ace Hardware somehow had fine thread grade 8 bolts mixed with coarse thread grade 8 bolts, which I didn't even pay attention to. So, but yeah, I think the loop on the cross member is facing the wrong way. I think I'll end up cutting it out and flipping it over, turning it up. It's all going to get triangulated and braced in with the roll cage, so strength is not going to be an issue. I think I'm about to put the K-member in and put the engine transmission in, see how much of the firewall's got to come out. If I'm going to relocate the firewall, if I'm just going to cut it out, start over, going to cut the fender aprons off. I don't know. Don't really know. Not sure. Then put my turbo headers on, see if they even fit. That'll probably also depend. May need to cut more of the shock tower out, but I'll need to have the struts in it to know how much more can cut out. Been thinking about drilling out all these spot welds in the side of the firewall. There's not a whole lot left holding it on at the bottom. I'd then have to come in here and leave this in place for the cowl, but then go across, zip it out, move it back, make a flange, move it back 2 or 3 inches, then I can set the engine back a little further. That does seem like a lot of work. So, not really sure that I want to do that. But anyway, that's what I've got going on so far. So I will let you back in when I get the K-member and front suspension back on. Okay, afternoon Sunday, 4:30. Oh wait, it's 3:30. Shit, I guess still got time. So it's 3:30 Sunday afternoon. Let's start over. Afternoon update. Sunday is 3:30 in the afternoon. The car is sitting on the roll around dollies in the back on the slicks. Looks pretty good. I love where the wheel is in the wheel well. I love the ride height. It may not work worth the crap come the real world, but the rear end's offset just a little bit, but I'm gonna get that fixed with those offset or U-boltless leaf spring purchase. There we go. Let's spit that out. All right. So what I've been doing this afternoon, putting the front end back together. I put the AJE K-member back in. If you're not familiar with the AJE K-member, it basically converts the front of any, they've got them for, actually it might be the same one, any of your early Ford unibodies. They started making them for Mustangs, and Mustangs, Falcons, Fairlanes, Mavericks. There's another company out there, Team D Performance, his Falcon, he's using the other one, which is a little pricier, but it is way better quality from what I've seen. I've seen some pictures on the internet of some of the AJE K members that look like crap. This is, I guess, Gen 2. This is a newer design. You can tell it's got the bigger tubes. Mine, the welds look good. Of course, good looking and good quality. Sometimes they're different things, but I think it's good. Of course, I guess the first time I pull the wheels and drop them down or drive it down the road on a drag week type thing, we'll find out. Put the front end back together. Debating on whether I want to bother putting the steering rack in, but I know one thing I have to do is get these strut rods out. I've never cut them off. I was waiting till I flip the car up on its side to cut these diagonal cross members out and do some tube ones. When I do a tube front end, a tube mount for the radiator support. I still have to decide if I'm cutting all the fender skirts out, fender aprons. I don't know. I guess it's kind of cool when you pull up in the hood and there's nothing under here but just some tubes and wide open. It just screams race car. So I'm kind of hoping you'll still have a little bit of 1962 Falcon vibe going on. But, the stuff doesn't fit. You can't work on it. What good is that? So, and of course, there's some of you screaming, "You're putting an LS in it." What is factory about that? Well, LS is about the only modern thing that looks like a small block Ford. So there you go. So when I first put this together, I didn't have any spacers, so the control arms just had a whole lot of room to roam in there. The kind of bronze looking spacer I got from Speedway, they are what they call high angle Heim joint spacers. You can kind of see how much angle it's got on it. Of course, my Heim's pretty straight right there. This one's got some more angle on it. I need to get some more spacers and probably and this is a strut rod setup on the back of this control arm. Probably move that forward so that there's not as much angle on the Heim. I don't know if you can see that in there. There's quite a bit of angle on that Heim joint. Not just because it's turned sideways. It's got a lot of angle on it. So I'll get another assortment of spacers probably for Speedway. They got a good assortment and prices, or Pit Stop. Or AAE Manufacturing. That's who did a lot of the fabrication for me on these rear spring mounts. That so far I'm pretty happy with. So on this side, my coilover, I got strange coilovers, 150-pound springs, which that was when I was going to put the 4-cylinder in there, so I don't know. I guess I need to go online and look at Fox Body guys that have LS swaps with Turbo 400 or 480s and see what springs. I think those are going to be too light. Might have to go to 175 or 200 with the iron block LS. But on this side, it's a brand new Fox Body strut. On the other side, it is an older SN95 strut that I got. So when I first put this together and put the 4-cylinder in it, actually I don't think I ever had the 4-cylinder. When I first put it on the ground, I think with nothing in it, it looked like I was going to be really off on shock travel. And I was not going to have very much bump travel or compression travel. And if you're not aware, the SN95 struts are basically an inch longer physically than a Fox body strut. The travel is about the same. I think the travel is the same, but the body itself is an inch shorter. And when I first got the car, put some weight on it, it was going to be, you could tell it was just too high in the front. You know, that's one reason when I did these caster camber mounts, I moved that top plate that on the factory Falcon. You can see where I made that collar. Actually, my brother made that collar. So whatever that is, I guess about 2 inches, a little over 2 inches. Move that up. I'm still not quite satisfied that that's enough. But hopefully with the shorter strut, so I can compare side to side what it looks like, and then if I like the Fox strut better, I'll just take this strut back out and check it out. I'm about to go dig the passenger side fender out of the shed tomorrow, so when I put the wheel on it and drop the engine, hopefully transmission in it, I don't know if the transmission will even fit with that firewall, how much I'm going to cut out on the firewall, but at least put the engine back in it, and then I can have an idea of what kind of spacers that I really need. I just guessed at those. I think it's too far forward. I think I'm going to have to switch these spacers and push everything back, but I can't remember. When I first put this together and mocked it up, I had no spacer, so I just kind of would set it in there and push it around until I got the wheel where I wanted in the wheel well. So I'm going to have to do that with spacers now. So yeah, as you can tell by the tone of my voice, I'm a little bit happier today than I was yesterday when I realized that the U-bolt fiasco on the rear end and the leaf spring hanger, or leaf spring perch. So a little bit happier this afternoon. So we'll just keep on rolling. Probably getting ready to stop and go eat and drink beer and put the engine and the mock-up transmission in it tomorrow. We'll see.